So we're not here to try to assault your cherished conception of angels and where they come from, but we do want to offer a perspective. And Swedenborg, who was a guy who was like, the world was incredibly Christian where he was, and there was a theology from the church, and suddenly has his spiritual eyes opened, records the longest series of continuous spiritual experiences ever, I would think.
Yeah.
And
as far as I know.
Just gets to know angels like better than you know the postman. I guess you don't really know the postman that well, but
and to me, a lot of what I like about this show, the idea is not to replace or shove aside other ideas or whatever. It's just, I picture a computer drop-down menu.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes you're frustrated because the menu comes down, but it's like it doesn't say print. Like where, you know.
Yes. Where's undo?
Yeah. I just want this to be one of the things on the I want people to have the option of thinking these thoughts. I find them valuable, but at least it should be out there in the information stream.
Yeah.
Right?
So
right?
we're hedging. Like that's our attitude, and then you're going to get into the Swedenborg, where he just like in the polemic style of the 18th century, like this is how it is. That is. He had an urgency about it, but he says that the urgency angels want us to know this. So let's check it out.
Right. Yeah.
This is we're going to start in his book called The Last Judgment, which then is a whole nother thing about when did the Last Judgment already happened and when did it. Won't get into that here, but this chapter is titled Heaven and Hell Come from Humankind. The Christian world, here we go, we're going to stir the pot a little bit. The Christian world is totally ignorant of the fact, and this is Christians in the 1700s, that heaven and hell come from humankind. People believe that angels were created at the beginning and that this was the origin of heaven. They believe that the devil, or Satan, was an angel of light who was cast out with his gang because he became a rebel, and that was the origin of hell.
Very familiar idea.
Yeah, but that's a weird idea. Well,
it's a very odd.
Okay, you viewers may have a better conception of this than I. But if you think of hell, so what is hell in the traditional Christian conception? It's just like misery and suffering and like the terror of existence, right?
Everlasting punishment.
It's what everyone fears. If you're a Christian, oh no, what if my family doesn't? It's just this like horrifying thing. So it started because an angel rebelled, and that's what started hell.
And had an entourage of some kind and took them with them.
But why would humans then get sent to why didn't God just say, no, you're not going to build this separate place? But why would he give so many of his children
and if you're
to
already
that place?
An angel, which the whole idea of salvation is that you're safe, you're saved. I mean, that's not supposed to come undone.
I'm just saying a lot of people suffer from, like, the idea of hell terrifies people. And I don't know if I get it. I don't like that conception of hell. Because Swedenborg just said heaven and hell come from humankind. So we're not trying to say that, people don't have negative spiritual experiences where they see that and all that.
Right.
But the idea that hell was this permanent punishment place started by sort of like I'm going to take this seed money and go start my own thing. Thanks. That became super successful because now all these people go to hell. No way, man. Okay, well, angels are utterly astounded that this is what the Christian world believes.
Wow. Okay. So. Say that again. They're asking Swedenborg, like, really? That's what they think?
Yeah. And even more astounded that people know absolutely nothing about heaven, even though this should be central to what the church is teaching. Central.
That's so interesting because I think a lot of Christianity, but also other religions, is politicized a fair thing to say. It seems to be very focused on, understandably, about human suffering in this world and what's happening and all that. But he's saying, no, the afterlife, like what's going to happen to us after we die, got to be central because that affects the way you live your life, right?
Yes. I mean, for the Swedenborg, heaven is a state that can be reached. Like every day you can be building heaven in yourself, by keeping the commandments in all these different ways. So it's not even just like, well, what's going to happen after I die, but like today is the start
Today.
of. Okay, should be
Yeah.
central. So central to what the church is teaching should be your vision of where you're going. Just like
Yeah.
central to guidance counseling is that there is careers.
Yeah.
You're not just in school to
Some
be in
idea
school.
of the options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now you're going through school. You got your tests. You got your homework. You got your locker combination. That's not what this is for, though. It's for careers, and careers
Yeah.
are coming up.
Yeah.
Because this kind of ignorance has become dominant, angels rejoice at heart that it has now pleased the Lord to reveal a great deal about heaven and also about hell, and by this means to dispel, as much as possible, the darkness that has been increasing every day because the church has reached its end.
Yes. So the tone of that is not, well, there are competing ideas and you can choose this or you can choose that,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He said that's all darkness. That's all wrong. I'll set you straight.
Well, all he's saying is that the end of the Christian church was in the 1700s. And now there's a new thing that's restarted, even though people might not be able to notice the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
another pretty
that's
stunning.
a whole other
so
thing.
We've lightly covered some very stunning ideas already in this show.
Okay. And here's the urgent message from angels. And this is him
Okay.
passing it along. So they, meaning the angels, want me to assure you on their behalf that there is not one angel in all heaven who was created an angel from the beginning. And there is no devil in hell who was created an angel of light and cast down. No, all the people in heaven and all the people in hell have come from humankind. The ones in heaven are the ones who lived lives of heavenly love and faith while in the world, and the ones in hell are the ones who lived lives of hellish love and faith.
Odd to speak of hellish faith, isn't
Yeah, really.
it? But yeah.
Yeah, really.
You would think it would be hellish absence of love and absence of faith. There's something, but yeah, it's interesting that he does say that.
So, what's your reaction to that?
Well, I think that's astonishing. What is satisfying to me about that statement is that I think you could think that, well, there are angels and then there are other beings, and there are archangels and there are the seraphim and there's all the different ranks of beings up there, and there's Michael and Gabriel and so on. But his blanket statement, there's nobody else, 100%. 100% of who's up there in both of those worlds, they're all what I would call ex-people. They're people who lived on a planet, died, went to the other side,
And it's fascinating about like Gabriel, because it's certainly, an angel Gabriel makes an appearance, and I'll have people write in and say, like, I prayed to the angel Gabriel or Michael, and they helped me with this thing. There is that, but instead of it being one person who was just really top of their class and is now a major player, it's a function. So it's a group of angels. It's like, what was it say that Michael is protecting truth? Is that right? Or was it Gabriel?
Michael's the one who fights, right? I think
Yeah.
Michael is the one who ends up fighting. So I think that protection function, whereas isn't Gabriel more announcing?
Right.
Like bringing good news. And
So there's any angel who's participating in that function, like anyone who's using the truth to fight for people, is part of this thing that is called Michael, which can appear to someone as a single angel because any group of angels can appear as a single
that
being.
way. And it suddenly strikes me, gosh, that's a really smart way to do it. Like you don't want to have a huge multinational corporation that has one salesperson or something, right? One accountant. I mean, you want a whole bunch of people who are performing that function. And so having depth on that bench, like, okay, Michael is the name for that whole function because it's more one than it is separate. But that can be performed by a bunch of people with that same love and that same spirit.
Well, it's kind of like...
And I've wondered, I mean, this was going out on a limb, but I've wondered whether Swedenborg is part of Michael. Is he a Michael?
Uh-huh.
in training or something,
right.
because he's taking on that sort of, no, we've got to get rid of this falsity. This is not right. We should set the record straight.
Well, if you say, hey, I'm from the Red Cross.
Yeah.
It's the Red Cross is there for you.
Yeah.
Even though whichever individual person is showing up, there could be different people all over the world, but it's the Red Cross because they have they're trying to do the same thing for you. They have the same tools, they share knowledge,
Yeah.
And that's the way it is with all, this is McDonald's, wherever you find it. I don't know if that's a good analogy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, so that's fascinating. And no devil in hell who was created an angel of light and cast down. So all the people populating heaven and hell are us. We're making heaven, we're making hell, or we're choosing the kind of lives that then God arranges into heaven or hell. All right? The purpose of the reason why it's important to know that heaven is made up of people is that's why anything exists. This is Last Judgment 13.
Oh, is that all? Okay.
No, that's it. It only goes back to the reason that's why anything exists.
Okay, the reason for existence as an entirety.
The heaven of angels is the reason why everything in the universe was created.
Yes, and he says elsewhere that the whole goal, like God's purpose, ultimate purpose, is a heaven from the human race.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we turn into them and into angels at some point under the right circumstances is the entire point of this whole huge universe and everything.
Well, yeah. Why does matter exist? Why does energy exist? Why does the solar systems and galaxies exist? Why do animals, plants, minerals, bodies, all of that, all the features of life, why do they exist? For the sake of the heaven that the Lord is trying to build, which the heaven is made up of people who are in a totally happy state forever.
And I think our audience is predominantly human. I'm not certain, but with the
metrics
humans
seem to indicate.
Yeah. And the understanding who you are, what sort of being you are, and what's possible for you in the future is very important. The human race is not a cosmic mistake, an evolutionary mishap or something. Right. I know it can seem that way sometimes, but no, this was part of a huge plan, and with a very bright future.
Believe it or not,
even though we go through some stuff while we're here on this planet, we go through stuff. But
yep. I cut us off mid-sentence there. That wasn't the end of the sentence, but I just felt like that statement, which he's made other places, which is why he'll just throw it in the first half.
It's one of Swedenborg. If you had to boil it down, I think that's one of his
That's it. That may be
that's a key point.
The cliff notes, the cliff note. But it goes on, because a heaven of angels is the reason for humankind, and humankind is the reason for the heavens we see above us and the planets they contain. So this divine work, the heaven of angels, looks above all toward what is infinite and eternal, and therefore looks toward multiplying without end, because heaven is where the divine itself dwells. We can conclude from this that humankind will never come to an end, because if it did, the divine work would come to a halt at a specific quantity and would cease to look toward infinity.
Well, now that's a useful reassurance, because it's easy in this day and age to feel like, whoa, we're only sort of one nuclear bomb away from, like it's over, or would pollute ourselves to death or whatever, which seemed, possible. It seemed like there are options that could happen. But we're not talking about destruction would shut down the whole reason for this entire thing.
Yep.
There's a reason behind all this.
It's kind of freaky sometimes. Like that many people, how are you gonna have that many? But apparently that's nothing to the divine.
Yeah.
So we'll just keep on going.
That's right.
All little cells of the body. We'll just keep on going.
Every one of them different.
Okay, so that's Swedenborg's take, but it's not always necessarily been the take of the human race, and particularly in the Christian world, which is Swedenborg was very concerned with.
Yes.
Because he felt